Up, besties?
Spill the tea.
Today we are talking about MLMs.
Mm.
I'm so
If
excited.
you don't know what that is multi-level marketing groups.
Or a pyramid scheme,
So we're gonna
otherwise
dive right
known.
into it. Like 27, I would say like it was like 2017 through 2020. And Francesca and I are both Francesca and I are both culprits or both victims of joining
Yes,
MLMs. So on behalf of everyone that we've ever slid into their DMs, we would
we're
like to
so sorry.
apologize.
If I ever sent you a hey girl message, just pretend that that was never a thing. It's such a
Right.
cringy moment for me. I cannot overcome that sometimes.
It was so bad. Sorry, my dog, it is trash day.
It's
We're
okay.
barking. She's just feeling very passionate about
About the
MLMs.
MLMs. Okay,
I
let
was
me
just think
go
Go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead. This is our problem. We talk too much. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about like our friendship. Like we talked about this in the first episode, but our friendship started because Francesca was in an MLM. She was in Beachbody
God
and she
bless.
was getting me to work out. Honestly, like you killed those workouts. Like you were like going.
I did. I will say I felt really good. Like for me personally doing them, I it was great. Trying to recruit people, it just wasn't me. Like I liked more of the community aspect, not so much like, oh, this is going to be my full-time job or I'm making this a career. I just liked the community part. Like I love bringing women together. I love trying to like motivate, do something. That was kind of my intention, but reading back some of these messages that I sent like from the like higher up that I had, mentor, whatever you want to call, that would like send me the copy and paste of like, hey, copy and paste this to like 10 random girls. Can you imagine doing that to me?
Copy and paste it. Like,
Yes.
no,
And
I
just go
can't.
and like find girls through hashtag. Girl, what was I thinking? I mean, we
Wait,
found each
through
other.
hashtags? That's how you
Yes.
found. Oh
I don't
God.
remember exactly how I found you or like how whatever, like how I messaged you, but I just remember like my mentor was always like find hashtags like girl boss that like just such cringy shit that I would just find random people. I'm like, oh, if I like her profile, if I thought that she would be like a good fit, copy and paste, send the message out, send the DM,
And that's where
and
the hey
whatever
girl
stuck.
comes
Like,
because you never had to use their name. You just use hey girl.
exactly. Hey, girl,
And it's
join
so
my boss,
it's
babe.
I mean honestly, like I feel
So
like
bad.
that like I think the intention there was good. Like you're
It
like, "Oh,
was.
I want to create a community." But
Yes.
like looking back on it, like it's
So
like low
horrible.
key so insulting to be like, "Hey,
Yes.
like you need to work out." And
Yep.
that's why babe, that's why I'm in your DMs cuz you're a fatty. Like I
It's,
like
yeah,
not like
it's
it's not
cringe.
like you said those things or anything, but I have gotten like messages from like MLMs that are to that extent. And like
Yeah.
I'm talking like 2023. Like I'm a bride to be and I've literally gotten messages in my DMs that are like, "Hey, like you need to lose weight for your wedding. You need
So
to join my
cringe.
accountability group." And it's Beachbody again. And I'm like, "Why are we going back through this?
Yeah.
We're over this. We're over this." And I
Yes.
can't believe that like someone would literally message me saying like you need to lose weight for your wedding. I'm like, "What? Like why are you telling me what to do with my body?"
It's
I it
crazy.
was it's just crazy because I mean, obviously you weren't to that level. You were very much like, "Hey girl, just want to create a community, just want to have some fun
Yeah,
across
totally.
with babes across the country sort of thing."
Yes. Yeah.
Right? But like
Babes across the country. Still a cringy moment for me. Oh my God.
other people are just like ruthless. Like they're
Yeah.
like, "I know you're getting married and it's time to finally shred those weight."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Get
Which I
out of
don't like
here."
that. I don't like that. I think I joined Beachbody just because I wanted to work on myself, obviously, like body image. We could obviously talk about that for days, but and then I was doing it as a customer. What would you call it? Client,
Yeah.
customer? I don't know, whatever, right?
You're like a customer because you were
Yeah.
doing the workouts yourself and then they
Yes.
probably were just like, "You're
And then
so
they
good
were,
at this."
yeah, which freaking fell for that shit. I fell so hard for that. And I was like, oh, wow, this could be great. Like, you know, she had the whole spiel for me about what you could do, what you could make. I'm like, oh, yeah, awesome. Like, let's get an accountability group. Let's do it together. Um, and I did have a couple people like at one point, but I was never that person who was like forcing it to be like, go find people, go do the copy and paste. Like, I had to get out of that. I think I started Beachbody like end of 2018 maybe is when I like started. It was 2018 because I've been in a couple MLMs. How many MLMs have I been
Wait,
in?
what other MLM have you been in? I've
So
only
I
been
was
in one that I
okay.
know
Are
of.
you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, Scentsy.
So
And I was Delulu and literally thought that I could sell candle wax and build an empire and work from home.
isn't it crazy though? Like some people did actually like build like certain people obviously. They obviously had to have gotten into it at a good time. Like to be a
Yeah.
mentor and like build it up because some people were making like six figures with this
Some people
stuff.
still are,
I
which I'm
know,
like, are
which
you
is
really?
wild.
Because I feel like there's been such a downfall of the MLMs, but like,
Yep.
it's like, but they would sell you on the people that are succeeding and the people that like got into it. Like,
Yep.
it was just all about timing. Like, the people that got into it at the right time, like, good for you.
That's what
Honestly,
I'm
like,
saying. Yeah.
good for you. You're running that pyramid scheme. You're rocking
Yep.
it. You're doing great. Like, you go, girl.
Which is
I
fucked that it's still happening.
Good for
But
you. But then everyone underneath them is that they're just fucking over. They're just
yeah.
losing all this money.
Yep. So I was with Lime Life. I don't know if you've ever
What?
heard of that. Yeah,
What
it
is
was a
that?
skincare. It was a skincare company.
Lime life?
Horrible. Yeah. So, okay. Let me
What?
backtrack a little bit. So, before or one of the first careers, I guess you could say, was I was in cosmetology, right? I did hairdressing, skincare, whatever. So I met this girl from a salon that I used to work for. Obviously, like the salon was no longer, but we stayed in touch. And she was the one who brought me in to this Lime Life,
Oh,
which was the worst effing products that at the time I thought it was everything, but now looking back, I'm like,
of course.
what are we doing, right? So she
Yeah.
brought me on board under her, and I was like, oh, I just want to be a customer. I want to try out the products. I want to see if I like them. Again, one thing led to another. Here I am mentoring. Who the hell am I? Okay. Got away from that at the end of 2018, moved into Beachbody, and then I actually moved into Beauty Counter. Do you remember Beauty Counter? I think it's still a
Oh,
thing.
you were there for like a hot second.
Yeah, it was very like we were in, we were out. I was like, girl, what am I doing? Like, this is not me. I gotta get away
Because
from
you
these
liked the
pyramid schemes.
products.
I
You
did.
liked the
I
products.
did.
See, with like, okay, again, don't love pyramid schemes, but with like Beauty Counter and Mary Kay, like the
Yeah.
makeup ones, I'm like I can kind of see it. Like if you're buying the products like every couple of months or whatever,
Yep.
like just buy it from yourself and make money, or what if your friends buy Mary Kay or
Totally.
Beauty Counter, like just make the money. Like I get that. I get that, but where like I draw the line is like the recruiting. And like at one point, like do you
Totally.
remember I had like people on my team. Do you remember that when I did
What?
Sensi?
Oh, that you had people on your team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on my team. Like
Yes, like you
I,
recruited people. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I had
Yes.
like I was, I think I ended up being
You
like
were the mentor.
a superstar consultant. I had like 7 or 8 people underneath me in 2020. I
I
feel
was gonna
so
say
bad. Like,
2020, you were thriving though. Like you, I mean,
I
obviously
mean, I
it's
was thriving, but I only made like $200 a month.
true. I guess more so thriving in a pandemic. Like you had gotten laid off, you needed like extra money. That was like one way to do it. And everyone was doing it. Like I look back and I'm like, holy shit, what did I ever do that for? But there was like a point in time where I really thought that this was it. I'm like, this is it. I'm working from home. I'm making the
Yeah, me
big
too.
bucks.
Me too.
Like girl boss for life. And
Me
obviously I
too.
don't feel that way anymore.
And the turning point was for me is I went in person to this like Sensi convention. And at that point, like 4 of my team members dropped off. I only had 4 of them left. I went to the Sensi convention and so embarrassing. And they were like I had to pay to go, which I
Which
was
is
like,
ridiculous.
which
I
is
love when they
weird
do
because
that.
like they considered me an employee, but like I would have to pay to go. And then I'm like, oh, can I reimburse the parking? Nope. The parking was like $40. I'm like, this isn't like a company. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing here? They're like, no, you can't reimburse it, and you have to pay $150 to go to this convention. And I'm like, to do what? Like, I'm confused. Lunch not included. There was literally nothing included. Water, no, had to
I
buy it.
would have
Like
died.
everything, you had to buy it. And I was sitting in these rooms with like hundreds of people telling like their stories, and some of it was like motivational and everything like that. But then I was just like sitting
Motivational
there. I'm like,
speakers.
and then I was sitting there and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I spent so much money to be here, and
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like my company. And they always said that, like, it made no sense because they're like, work for yourself, work for yourself. But then they
Yep.
said, oh, my boss is the best, which is the
Crazy.
company.
Yeah.
But like, you are the boss, but
Yeah.
like, the company's the boss. Like, do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, it
Like, they
doesn't
would say,
make
like,
sense.
you're your own
It's
boss, but then, like,
it's just
this,
it's that pyramid.
it
The
it
pyramid
literally
scheme.
makes no sense. I remember looking around in this room full of people.
Yeah.
I'm going to be nice. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, this is weird. I remember
It's
seeing one of the girls, I
crazy.
go, this is weird. And at one point, like, I'm sitting in a room and I'm just getting cult vibes. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, this ain't it for me. Like,
No.
I think at one point, like, people were kind of referencing, like, the Bible a little bit during their inspirational speeches. And I was like,
Winner.
literally, did your dog just throw
Sorry.
up?
Yeah. No, no, he was just barking.
Oh,
It was
okay.
such a like little bark, but at the same time,
I was like, oh
annoying.
no. But like I remember sitting in the room and I was like, what company would allow you to talk about like Jesus
Yeah.
references in a
No, we don't have
motivational
time for that.
speaking? But like what got me is I put so much money into I spent like $200 to be there. And then
Yeah.
at that they're like, oh, and now buy your kit while you're here. I'm like,
Oh my
what?
God, don't even talk about the kits. I forgot about the kits. The freaking kits. Like,
Fucking kits.
no, I honestly, like, kind of segueing into motivational speaking. The reason why when I was with Beachbody, right, they had a bunch of different speakers come to their like summit, I think that they called it, whatever. And Rachel Hollis was there. I remember she was a speaker at Beachbody, and I was like, wow, this chick is like, I'm obsessed, right? Like I was a full-on Rachel Hollis fanatic. And then I went to her conference like a couple months later, like that she had in Florida in 2020.
And you went
And
by yourself.
I went by myself. That was my
I
first.
remember you voice messaged me, you're like, Joe, I can't get on this plane. I'm
Yes,
so
I was
scared.
freaking out. I had like such flight anxiety. It was my first time like actually like solo. I like had never flown by myself before. I literally was having a panic attack and I was like, Francesca, you need to just get on that plane. You're going to be so disappointed in yourself if you miss it. I was so ready to meet her and like see her and meet other women. Like
Did you actually meet her?
I didn't meet her. I met Dave, the husband, who
Oh, rest in
RIP Dave.
peace, Dave.
Like I
Rest in
that's a
peace,
whole
Dave.
nother
I don't mean to
topic.
laugh. I don't mean to laugh. I
No,
don't mean
but
to
like we
laugh.
didn't
But
see that
like,
coming. That was like crazy left field. Like
listen,
that's
that's a whole other
yeah, whole
episode.
other
The
episode.
Hollises, like, oh my
Wild.
gosh. Which, by the way, I think about Rachel Hollis like once a week when I'm like, when she says like, I don't want to be relatable.
Yeah.
I literally think about her
Yeah.
when she said like, I don't want to be relatable. I think about her saying that literally once a week because it's just
I
so comical
remember
because it's
so vividly when that happened and we were crazy voice messaging each other because I could not understand the fact that she had like put out this video about basically like what was it again? Like her like cleaners like come and clean the house or like come and clean the toilets or
yeah.
something. She had like made a very like disgusting
Yeah,
comment.
she said some derogatory comment
Yes.
instead of like I don't she said some very derogatory comment like basically like belittling the woman that she has come and clean her home instead of saying like oh like I'm very thankful that she makes my life easier and stuff. She just like used very
I
derogatory
might like
terms.
need to like look that up real
It
quick.
was like so bizarre and like off the charts, but I remember at that time we were doing the Rise like virtual, like you and
Yes.
I were like doing it
Yes.
virtually, and everyone from like Sensi in my MLN was also doing it because they're like, this is a great opportunity to continue to grow,
Yep.
which is interesting as well because as well as we like all attended that Rise thing, we all attended a virtual Sensi convention, which again we had to pay for,
Which
and
is
it was like eight
ridiculous.
hours on the computer. I'm like, what am I doing?
I know. I why did I do that? I had spent 3 days at that conference. I think it was 3 days. I honestly did feel like empowered. I felt motivated. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like she's building a legit empire. I was like Rachel Hollis attached. Anything that chick put out, I grabbed it like as quick as possible. And then I think it was what, 2021 or something. Oh no, no. It was 2020, and a couple months later in April, she and her husband had announced their separation, their divorce. And everyone
Yeah.
was like, holy crap, you're getting a divorce? Like, you guys have been, like, putting out so much marriage advice. You're creating this whole, like, I don't even know,
It
like,
was
this
like an
whole thing.
illusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
That's the
at
word
the
I was looking
same
for.
time, like
That
I
they were
felt at
perfect.
what year was that?
That was
2021?
2020. No, that was 2020. The
2020? Like,
unrelatable comment was 2021 because they had already been separated. But
okay.
2020 was when they got a divorce. They were
I
separating.
remember that was kind of like like 2020, end of 2020, 2021 was the transition where like
Yes. I was like, who
Rachel
is she?
was going downhill
Yeah.
and so were MLMs. Like it was just
Yes.
like plummeting. Like people were like doing their research. They were finding out that these MLMs are just like taking money out of people's pockets. Because the
Yep.
thing is like with an MLM, you put in so much money. Like every
Yes.
single season that we had with Scentsy, like you had to buy a new kit so that people could come and smell them.
Yep.
And like that cost me so much money. Like I put in so much money towards this business and like yeah, I ended up making some money. I'm not going to be like I'm not going to lie. Like I
I don't
made some
even think
money,
I
but like
really made any money from that,
I was like
honestly.
I definitely like canceled out. Like I did
Yeah.
not I broke even. I was not making a fortune and that's the whole thing is like they'd be like you need to post and you need to tell these boss babes that
Yep.
you're making lots
A
of
lot of
money. That's what they
money.
would say. And I'm like I'm
Yeah.
not making a lot of money.
I could never be that person. Like, I cannot pretend that I'm doing something when I'm not. Like, I don't think I ever put out like the vibe of I'm making so much money. It was just a matter of like community,
I
like
definitely did.
trying to get people in. Like, I don't think I really ever talked about money on there. It was more of just like, do you want to make money? Do you want to try to do this? Like, do you want to be a part of a community? Like,
It
so
was weird because
cringy.
people would make posts all the time and they would be like, so glad Scentsy paid my groceries this week. And like,
Oh,
I know. And I think I might have used that too. And I'm so sorry, everyone.
how dare you?
Because during the pandemic, like we were living the life with that unemployment from Massachusetts. I mean, come on.
Can I just say one thing?
Did you
I
find the
found
Rachel Hollis thing?
I did. So I'm just gonna read it real quick. I found the little post here. Okay, so she was talking, whatever, she was doing a video and she said, "What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable?" No, sis, which I hate that she uses the word sis. Like, what?
I
No.
don't pause there. I don't like the word cis because I actually did like after she said that, I watched a lot of videos, listened to a lot of podcasts that actually is like related to like the black community and
Yeah.
they use that word more fluently. And so like when she said it, everyone was like, wait a second,
Yeah, like
like
what are you doing?
yeah.
It's not
Anyways, go ahead.
like that's not that
Appropriate. It's not
exactly.
appropriate.
She said, "No, sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. Most people won't work this hard. Most people won't get up at 4 a.m., which we need to unpack that because I hate that 5 a.m. mindset. Most people won't fail publicly again and again just to reach the top of the mountain. Literally every woman I admire in history was unrelatable. If my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong." And then remember in the caption, she
She
put
said
like
like Maya
Harriet,
Angelou,
yes, Harriet
Harriet
Tubman,
Tubman.
Oprah Winfrey. And we're like, girl, are you comparing yourself to them? Like, do you think that you're at their
She was
level? Because
she
you're
was like
not.
comparing herself to historical black women in
Yes.
America. And everyone was
Yes.
like, why is
Amelia
this
Earhart, she labeled them all as all unrelatable AF. Who
I
are
don't
you?
I don't like I when I
That
like
was wild.
I remember when I read when she said that and then I was like reading the comments and everyone's like, well, like, like I get up at 5 a.m. I have two kids and I'm barely getting by. It doesn't mean that I'm not
Yes.
trying.
It
It
makes
doesn't
people
mean
feel
that
like shit.
they're like, I'm not a loser because minimum wage is what minimum wage is. They're like, I don't have a high school degree. I don't have a college degree, but I'm just trying to put food on my table for my kids. And
Yep.
people felt so hurt, not only by like what exactly she said, but then like she was comparing herself to Harriet Tubman.
Yeah. And that's just like, I don't even know where she got that or how she
I'm
thought
like,
that
babe,
that was acceptable.
you created a pyramid scheme thing. You did
Yes.
not create the underground railroads.
No.
You didn't, I know
Or
that wasn't
the,
her, but like
yeah.
you didn't protest on a bus.
Nope.
You didn't stand up for women's rights and get us, be able to vote. You didn't fly an airplane. Like
I was
you
just, that's
didn't
what I was
do
trying to think
any
of. Yes.
You didn't do any of these things.
No.
What are you talking about? You weren't
Nope.
the first woman to do
Anything like that. You're not doing anything
anything.
remarkable. I fucking fell for it for sure. But she wasn't doing anything. I thought she was the greatest thing in the world. And like, I can't even believe I fell for that. But I think that's like a good point to make though, is like, all these MLMs, they make you feel like such shit. If you are not waking up at 5 a.m. to get your
Oh
workout in,
yeah.
girl, then you are failing. You have so
You're a
much
piece
time in
of
the
shit.
day. We all have 24 hours in the day. Like, why are you not meal prepping, getting your kid to school, like getting your
Oh,
workout in? Why aren't you
oh, and
doing that?
then, sorry, now I'm remembering. And then she said, everyone has the same amount of time.
Yeah. I
Do you remember
hate
that? And
that
it was a
saying.
follow-up video, and it just
I
kept
hate that
getting
saying.
worse.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like,
Nothing
no,
about
we
her
don't
was good.
have the same amount of time, because then it goes back to her being able to afford cleaners, having a
Yes,
cleaner,
and nannies. I think she had like a
and
nanny or
having a cleaner and
something.
having a nanny gives you back time. Those
Yep.
are privileges that allow you to do things.
And
They
that a lot
allow
of people
you,
cannot afford to do that.
you because like all the time that you spend
Like,
on taking care of your children or taking care of cleaning your house, you could do so many more things. So for you to compare and say like everyone has the same amount of time, like no. And also like we could all die any second. Like you don't know,
exactly.
like someone who has a terminal illness doesn't have the same amount of time as you.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I hate
there's
that saying. I
there's so
hate
many
that
things.
saying.
It's so messed up, because I'm like, we don't have the same amount of time in a day, because like
Yeah,
what my time in a day looks like is different from what your time in a day looks like.
exactly.
Like
And I used to
everyone's
feel
different.
kind of shitty about myself when I like wasn't able to wake up at 5 a.m. and like get a workout in.
Uh-oh.
Like it was so toxic for me. That like period of my life, I look back and I'm like, I was like really, I was very unwell.
I mean, honestly,
Like
like I
my
felt
mindset was not it.
I honestly think that like my mental health like plummeted during, like, not only because of like 2020, but like during this era, because there was such a focus on like doing so much. Like there was
So much.
like there
It
was
was
just
like
like
journaling, it was working
everything.
out, it was getting
75
your food.
hard.
Yeah,
Oh my
like,
God. It was everything at once. It was like, you need to get up at 5 a.m. If you don't, you're a loser.
yep,
If you don't meal prep, you're a loser.
yeah,
If
like
you
stop
don't
making
do another,
excuses.
if you don't do an outdoor workout, you're a loser. If you don't do an indoor workout, you're a loser. If you don't have 3 different memberships, you're a loser. If you don't pay all your bills in full, you're a loser. Like
Yeah,
there was like so much stress. Like you have any debt, you're failing at life. And like I
yeah,
was like, I just got out of college. Like what am I supposed to do? And
yeah,
there was just like so much pressure, and it was really weird because like again, like I had just graduated college, and this like this whole thing with like MLMs, like girl boss, like
self-help
you
gurus.
need to
Yeah,
do the most of the most, like came flying at me, and I felt so overwhelmed.
yep, yeah, it's a lot. The self-help, like, that was a crazy error. I was really in the self-help world. Like, I was journaling every single day. I was doing a gratitude journal. I was writing down, I had so many notebooks from 2020, I feel like, of just like complete chaos because of all these things that I thought that I had to do because of who I was following on Instagram, the self-help. Like, it just was, I don't know. That was such a toxic time. I kind of wonder, like, what are these people doing now? Rachel Hollis still has a podcast.
I
She's still
know.
doing things. She's trying to be relatable, but yet I find nothing about her interesting, like at all. I can't
I'm
even think that, like, how did I see her as someone who was, and I shouldn't say like not supporting me. I obviously, I feel like, it is what it is, right? Like, you get to a point in your life, and like, she got me through a certain point in time, and like, I grew from that, but at the same time, like, it was so toxic. The way that
it
they
was so
worded
bad.
things and like put themselves out there, like it just captured you. They captured you. It was an
And
MLM
like
in
I
their
remember
world.
that they were like live on Instagram, and they're like, you get up at 6 a.m., you need to start getting up an hour early at 5 a.m. And you need to unload the dishwasher, you need to do 2 loads of wash, you need to work
Yep.
out, you need to feed your toddlers, you need to get on the bus, you need to go to swim lessons. I'm like,
Her
what is
whole
that even
thing was
like
always
what?
5 a.m. She always talked about that. She's like, I wake up at 5 a.m. That is how I wrote my books. That is how I did this. That is how I did that. And I'm like, it's not relatable. It's not relatable
Honestly,
anymore.
I'm waking up later now that I work from home, and I'm getting my 8 hours. I'm eating my free meals, a protein at every
Yeah.
meal. I'm getting my workout in indoor and outdoor. I'm actually doing
Yeah.
better that I don't wake up
Yeah.
so early.
No, I am not a morning person. I'm not. I cannot wake up at 5 a.m. And that's okay. if you're like someone who wants to work out at night or work out during your lunch break or whatever, go for it. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think the world that we live in now is obviously a little bit more like open to just figuring out what works for you and not so much of like the shaming. I mean, there is still some shaming. Obviously, it's the world.
Yeah.
But MLMs, man, that was a time. What a time to be
It's
alive.
just so it's just so interesting because like I felt so much guilt and like so for a period of time too, like I really fell for the like wake up at 5 a.m. thing and I would literally go to a workout class at 5:30 in the morning. From 5:30 to 6:30, I would go to Orange
Oh,
Theory. I would come home and
Orange Theory.
shower
Oh my
and then
God.
catch the train by 7:15, go into Boston, 45-minute train ride, then walk 15 minutes. And my day wouldn't start till 9, and I was
Yeah,
up since 5.
miserable. Could you imagine doing that right now?
That's 4 hours. 4 hours. I was awake and I was like, I've already done
Yeah.
so much. I was like a zombie. And then when I got home, I had to do my
Yep.
outdoor workout now. And I'm like, I'm
It's a lot.
exhausted. I can't do
Yeah. I used
anything.
to go to spin class at 6 a.m. and to even think about getting up at like 5:30 to go to a 6 a.m. spin class like makes me want to throw up. Like there's nothing about that that sounds inviting at all.
I just
I was a different
honestly, I
person
don't
back
even do
then.
like I don't know
I don't
how we
know.
did it. I really don't. I think I was just falling and caving into all the pressure from like you need to do a
Yep.
million things, you need to be perfect. That it's that
Yeah, I
MLM
read so many
nonsense.
self-help books too. It's funny because like I've transitioned into my spicy fiction books now is like all I read. When I see a self-help book like on the shelf, it makes me want like
I'm like go to therapy.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You don't need
Yeah.
a self-help
Yeah.
book. You need
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
therapist,
I
babe.
wish I
That's what
knew
you
that
need.
back then, but here
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah. So it's just and it and with like the self-help book. Oh my gosh, my dog.
I know my cat
My dog
won't
keeps
stop
barking like crazy.
crying.
She's scaring me. But like with the self of
Yes.
course, because it's DINNER time. With the self help books, like everything that they said, and like MLMs too. Like I don't know if you like
Yeah.
Beachbody
Oh
was
my
like
God,
this
the
when you have
calls.
like calls or whatever,
Yes.
but everything was your fault. Everything was your fault. Like you're the reason you aren't getting like you're not making money. You're
Yep.
the reason that you're stuck in your full time job. You're the reason like
Yeah,
why
you're the
things aren't
problem.
working out for you.
It's me.
It was just
Hi,
it was
I'm the
chaos.
problem. It's me. Yeah, literally. They twist it. They twist it around to make you think you're crazy. And they did a good job because I thought
Yeah.
I don't even know who I was in 2019, 2020. I lost myself for a little bit there. But we're back. We're
And I
back.
was, we're back. I was talking to one of my other girlfriends recently, and she was like, I feel like the MLM thing is like
Yeah.
coming
No, it
back. And
is
I
a
thought we
little
were
bit.
over it. I was
I
like, I
think
thought we were
I don't
too.
even know. Yeah, no, Beachbody for sure.
Beachbody.
What's the other one though? Oh, Monet, the hair.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. That
that
one
one
is
was
still
crazy.
crazy.
Like those are some crazy girls. It's funny though because they're such a different type of person for each MLM. Do you know what I mean? Like you can tell like by a
Yes.
person like who's doing what kind of MLM, I feel like. Like the Monet girls are like wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been in it for years though. Like they're sold on it. They're true and true. And like what I can't get behind is like there's little literal lawsuits of
Yeah.
people like losing their hair
Yeah,
from
it's fine.
Monet and
It's
people are
their
like it's
problem.
not true. It's not true. I'm like how can you say it's not true? You're
No,
not in the
I
last
know.
you're not in the courthouse.
Yeah,
You don't know
it's
these people.
crazy.
How can you say it's
It's
not true? They're
crazy.
like it's not
Yeah, I'm
true.
so happy we're over that. I'm glad it brought us together, but I'm happy we're moving past that. Like, we will never do that again.
It's crazy. I honestly I thought it my goal, I had like a goal book that they gave me, and I was like, my goal is to
Yeah.
be working
Yep.
Scentsy full time by
No,
30.
I
And
know.
like
I
I
wish I still
ran
had
out
my
of there. I was like, I'm
notebooks
all
of just
set.
like with Rachel Hollis. Again, I bought everything Rachel Hollis put out, but do you remember she had a journal and it was like 10 things that you write down every day as if they've already
Yes.
happened?
It was so
Why the
expensive.
fuck did I buy a $30
Yeah.
journal? Multiple. And I wrote down the same shit every day. The 10, yeah, it was
And it
like
was
10 things to
what? It
like
was
write
like
down as if
10
they've already
things.
happened, right? Like, let's just put out a simple one. I am a millionaire. I mean, obviously that's a
Delulu.
little ridiculous, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I am a millionaire. I have my dream house. I have my dream job. Like, but you have to get very specific about it and you have to give very specific details. Like, I just can't. How did I do that?
It's so delusional, but that's the thing is that they would but that's the thing they would tell you to write down like they would say you're
Yeah.
not going to become a
Yeah. And
millionaire
be very
unless you write it
specific.
down
What
that
do you
you
want?
are.
Like, why? Why did
Oh my
I,
gosh, like
why did I do that? Oh my God.
I
Oh,
don't know. It's a lot of
yeah.
money wasted, a lot of time wasted, but
I know. We're
I'm glad it
here.
brought
So it's
us
good. It's
together.
good. It brought us
I
together and
really
that's all that
am.
matters. Peace out, MLM world.
That's all that
God
matters.
bless. God bless. Peace out.
Peace out.
Um,
All right. Well, I I feel like the world of
I
MLMs,
know.
I'll always have so much to say, and I feel like we can always do a part two eventually. Um, it's just, I hope that people that are still doing them
Yeah.
find their way out. I'll just say
And if,
that,
yeah,
and
if you have
God
ever been a
bless.
part of an MLM or you got sucked into it, let us know. Put it in the comments somewhere, wherever you're seeing this video, and I want to know what your experience was because I know that we're not alone and feeling like we're crazy when it comes to MLMs. Oh my God. All
All
right.
right.
Thanks for listening,
All right.
besties. Until next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.